In a little while, we're going to talk about this setup here, the torsion bar suspension system in sprint cars. That's a torsion bar, that's a torsion bar arm, and in my hot little hand here is a torsion bar stop. So we'll talk a bit about that later on. This suspension basically provides cross balance and weight jacking and ride height and balance through the torsion bar stop. So it's a twisting motion in the car. But we're looking forward to this first heat, Con. No doubt it's going to be a beauty.
Green lights and green flags, and it's a charge of the light brigade as Jake Baird-Miller leads a snarling pack of sprint cars off the end of the main straight.
And just before we have a chat to Jake, he'll be stoked with that result. Look at the main wing of these sprint cars. In Australia, they still have quite a dish. If you look across the plane here, you can see a nice dip, and at the back here, you can see they've still got a nice big wicket bill. And the big thing in sprint car racing, I'll just get Brendan to show us, shock absorbers. Everybody in sprint car racing talks about them, about the balance of the car, getting it right. And that's called getting mechanical grip on the sprint car. Because in America, they can't have as much downforce as they do in Australia. But when the Americans, I'll get Brendan to come around, when they come to Australia and see our wing package, they are very excited because the cars can stick to the racetrack like glue. So mechanical grip, aerodynamic grip. And one man that had some grip in that heat race was Jake Baird-Miller. Jake, good drive, mate. But I've got to say, a few times on the exit of two, she looked a little loose out there.
Yeah, it's more my crew that just won that heat for me, not me. I'm just the driver, but that car was awesome, and she got a bit loose and there's a bit of a slick patch going on in turn two, but you hold on tight and don't get off. It just comes off nice, so held on, and well done to my crew. You guys won that heat, so cheers, boys.
Well done to Jake Baird-Miller. Just quickly too, Brendan, you can just have a look here. See some blistering on the left rear. That's common when you're running on the slick. The wall here, the sidewall, likes to roll over on the racetrack, and that creates a bit of heat out there, but a great drive for him.
As we come out of turn number 4 again, Jamie Mayole starting to stretch the legs of the LJM group. As I say that, the smoke billows from car number 99, and it's lost a bit of power coming out the turns. I hope that's just oil on the headers.
I reckon that's a filter seal, Matt. The oil filter probably coming away. These cars run serious compression, as you know.
Yeah, it's cleared. It comes back in the turns, and now a bit of fire coming out the 99 machine, and Loudon will be loving what he's seen right now, but he can't make any inroads. And as we head downstairs to Psycho, Dean Neal is with our winner.
Oh, thanks very much, Matt.
Oh, you're a hard man.
Now, before we have a quick chat to Jamie, we're talking about torsion bar stops. One of the things that's been happening in the United States is some of these have been coming away. As I said, if you look down here on Mayolo's car, you got the torsion bar stop, you got the torsion bar that goes in there via a twisting motion, and a torsion bar arm, and that is a way of maintaining the weight and ride height of the car. Also very important when you put these in, you have the gap of a 20-cent piece in there at either end, because when these things flex, they bend and twist and shorten the bar length. Now, one thing just around here, Brendan, let's have a look here. You can see they've added a new safety rule in sprint car racing. They have a washer and a bar to make sure, so in the event of a torsion bar stop coming away, that they don't lose it, because it can create the sort of drama we saw with Mark Wells. But this guy, Jamie Mayole, been super impressive. Very good drive in that heat race. Mate, you had that car pinned down nice. It looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, it took us the first couple of shows to get this thing wound up, but, you know, the last 3 or 4 weeks, we seem to be able to get the LJM Racing, J&J, Australian Produce Brokers car where it needs to be.
How's the car rotating? You happy with it in and out at the moment?
Yeah, we're pretty nice. We're probably a little bit snug up the top there. A couple of times we were coming close to tearing the wall down, but we'll sort her out.
Yeah, just waiting for Jamie Page, is looking very impressive. And again, what we might do is show a couple of things. One is you can see the timing chain that the Formula 500s use, driving the rear of the car from the engine. The interesting thing too, which I was talking about with Jason Crow the last time we here, is these side cuts in the tyre. And the reason they do that is they want to get good edge grip when the car's rotating through the corners. That's why they'll often slice and dice the tyres in that diagonal style. And it certainly worked for this guy. I like the Huggy Bear tactics between the Priolos towards the end of that race. Certainly looking to protect that low line.
Not like Gentle Ben, Deano.
Yeah, this is an amazing thing. We're going to get Brendan to show Andrew Priolo how he sits in a Formula 500 car. Now, when you look at a normal sprint car, they're sitting bolt upright, almost like an old Model T Ford. In Formula 500 racing, they're almost lying down in the car. Their feet are a little bit sort of protruding at the front end of it. But Andrew, good race with your brother. You two were the class act of that heat race. You've got to be happy with how this car's rolling around right now.
Yeah, I went up a gear just because of the wind, but the top's come in, so I think we're going to have to go back a little bit. Probably could have been a little bit quicker, but
I'm happy with where we're at the moment. The first and the second should put us off the front row, and let's see what we can do with the feature.
At the Perth Motorplex now, there on the track is a gentleman in grey. What's he doing, Matty?
That's your
Yes.
son.
Gav.
Yeah.
What's Gavin doing?
That's a man actually working hard for a change.
Oh,
No, only joking.
I can't hear you saying that either.
Go and help him, Dean.
No,
Yeah.
well, I'm not too far away, and I think there's a couple of important things they're doing out here, everybody, in turns 1 and 2. The first thing is the reason they're scraping the dirt off the fence line is it's very important. It's hard enough to see in a race car on a normal situation. Think about it, you're cooped up in a race car with a Hans device, a high back seat, a roll cage, a rock guard, and tear-offs, and also you've got to navigate traffic. But part of that, of course, is being able to see where the outer perimeter of the racetrack is. So that's what Gavin Margot's doing here in 1 and 2.
You should get
Just
the
trying
keys
to
out, Deano.
just to try and get a bit of visibility back to the fence line here at the Perth Motorplex. The other important thing they're doing is they're rolling in the heavier stuff at the very top side of the speedway, particularly in 1 and 2, because the cushion is a lot higher in this part of the speedway right now than it is in 3 and 4. So they're trying to preserve that high line, so that way when we get to the serious business for this Western Australian Sprint Car title, they've got something to latch onto with those big right rear tyres,
Like I
guys.
always say, when you come to the Motorplex, bring someone to hold on to. When you're a race, you've got to latch onto something.
Yeah, just while we're waiting here for BT, Brooke Tatnell, and he is such a good driver. What we're going to show down here is a lot of the teams these days have what they call bump rubbers on the left rear. Now, what it's about is sprint cars are all about crossweight. So what they want to do is reduce the amount of travel in the shock, so that way it keeps the car nice and tight. Now, what will happen during the event, Dylan Buswell, the crew chief, might decide to put a packer, and that, in fact, there's one on here now, this little plastic unit here, and that is all about reducing the travel in the shaft of the shock absorber on the left rear. So that means you don't unhook too much the right front side of the car. But this man, what a good drive in that second round of heats. It's great to have him back at the Perth Motorplex. Brooke Tatnell, it's nice to see you here, and in a cricky car. History repeats, mate.
Yeah, it's good to be home, mate. You know, we've always had a lot of good races here in WA, and it's definitely good to be back in the KMS Hot Rod.
Look at this Luke Dillon car here at the right rear. You can see the grooving here on the outer perimeter. That's probably showing his hand. If you're a betting man on the 26 in the fair ticket department, you'd say he's going to put that car up on the high side, because at the Motorplex, quite often with the high speeds, this outer perimeter of the tyre can blister up, can heat up. In fact, looking at Cameron Gessner's car earlier, they're actually picking holes. They're actually digging holes into the blocks to try and cool down the outer edge of the tyre. So it'll be interesting to see. You can also see with this car, brand new rubber.
Hey, Dean, is it
on
also
the 26? Sorry, Con?
Is that because they're also running softer rubber tonight?
No, just basically maximum traction, Con. That's what it's about. When you have right rear, and this is a beautiful speedway here at the Motorplex, you've got to run up on the high side, really spin that tyre up, and what happens is to push dirt up track, there's friction involved, there's heat involved. So what they're going to try and do is try and hold that tyre together for as long as possible. I might get Brendan to come up here with us when we talk about the cushion or the rubble. Here we are. You can see the slick down here, and then up here the track gets a little heavier. The awesome thing, and I know Con would understand this as well, when you look at the banking of the track, it's just amazing, the shape, and that's one of the great features of the Perth Motorplex Speedway. You can see down here the slick, and then right down the bottom. The interesting thing is if you looked in turns 1 and 2, there's still a little bit of loose or moisture in the middle part of the track, and some of the teams will try and wire that for the early part of the feature, particularly for the sprint cars. But as you travel up here, Brendan, if you turn around, you can see you've got the heavier dirt up here, and that'll travel up track. And to set up is two different modes, whether you set up to run the very top side of the speedway or whether you set up to roll around on the bottom. I think you're going to see teams go all in one way or the other. Before we get underway for this sprint car race, we might as well keep the tech nerdy stuff going on. On the left rear here of Cameron Gessner's Kawara contract is car number 41. You can see he runs a bleed-off valve here. You can see they normally set this up from cold. Now, the amount of tyre pressure normally in the left rear, you could say about 4.5 psi. And what they'll do is they'll allow typically about 3 psi from cold. So what they'll do is they won't let all the air out, but it'll let some of the air out as heat generates in the tyres. The other thing I wanted to show, quickly come around here, Brendan, to the right rear tyre. Again, we've got that traditional grooving on the outside edge to try and cool the outside, and certainly if he's going to run the high line, talking about Cameron Gessner, that's going to help do that. The interesting thing too is on the inside edge of this right rear tyre as well, They've gouged quite deeply in there, and that's about trying to maintain and calm the temperature on that inside edge of the tyre. Just quickly, might have a quick chat to Cameron Gessner. Hey, can we call you West Aussie now, mate? You've been here a while. You must be living loving life over here.
Oh, mate, I'll always be Queenslander. I do really enjoy living in Western Australia, and I've been made feel really welcome with everyone here, but unfortunately, mate, I'm a Queenslander at heart.
We won't hold that against you too harshly, mate, but you must enjoy racing at a place like this as often as you do these days, mate.
Yeah, mate, the facility's world class. It's not just one of the best in Australia, it's world class, so it's definitely enjoyable.
They're racing for this. It is about pride, it is about ego, it's about writing a notch in a 52-page book that's pretty impressive, guys. Front axle is toast. Yep. And probably the rear end's taken a little tickle up too. But the thing is, the cars change, everybody. When they start in these feature races, there's a full load of fuel in the back of these cars. There's a full set of racing shoes. The tyres are full and strong, and the balance changes during the race. So I guess I was going to say, Con, Sean Bradford will be happy that he's looking sharp now, but you need to be sharp at the business end of the night. That's where it counts. Whether it was playing a sandbagging game, another replay on the Southside Agent Centre super screen.
I tell you, Harding's got a flat front left, so he won't be going anywhere, and the front wing's also damaged, so he'll be out.
Yeah, you can live without the front wing, but the front left, not so easy to live with.
Tyres off the rim, so definitely going nowhere.
No, Dunsky.
There's Picton on the screen right now.
How's Picton's car there, Jace?
Bit of Picton's car, that doesn't look too bad for something that's rolled over.
They call that the old Tommy tip over, that one. The wing's not too bad.
Yeah, the right-hand side wing of the wing is pretty crumpled up.
Yeah, but you can. But you know, if you look at the order of importance, everyone, in terms of the wing, if the most important part of the main wing is the left-hand sideboard, certainly anywhere in Australia, it is the most important part. In here at a high-speed speedway like the Perth Motorplex, the belly or the centre of the wing, the main wing, is probably the next most important thing. The thing that you could probably get away with most is if you have a problem with the right-hand side. So that's good news for Trent Picton. If you had to pick a part of the wing, and you don't really want to pick any part of the wing to be in trouble.
It'll be noisy in that car, though, with the wing damage like that, the wind noise going around the back of it.
Well, the other thing, too, is the bottom side of that main wing. You can see on the Southside Engine Centre super screen, when you're looking at these modern sprint cars, there's just no obstructions. They mount them pretty high on the car these days, and they allow air to move through there as quick as possible.
Yep.
And that creates a low-pressure zone, which means you get downforce with pace on these sprint cars. So that board will disturb that a little bit, but certainly that car is still raceable as long as everything else is A-OK.
Well, the field is about to be restarted again, Jason, and it's really shook us a bit, hasn't it, mate?
Well, yes, you can see on the Southside Engine Centre super screen. I'm down here with the Kendrick car, and there's about 8 or 9 of them working on it, trying to get it. Yeah,
there's a lot going on over here too at Trent Picton. They've actually changed out the main wing on this one and successfully executed that. Some of the Diamond Bay crew helping out with that. Lee Nash was helping out Daniel Harding, trying to get the rear end resorted, and a new right rear on that car as well, Jace.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can get Jason Kendrick's car re-going.
Jed's busy though, boys. There's Jeff Kendrick in there.
Think they won't make it, considering the other cars are being pushed away.
Well, they'll last for 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, Jason's not even in the car yet. He's still helping.
I might come and give you a hand, Jason, see what they're actually working on. Okay, well, the front axle.
Yeah, they've put a brand new front axle in.
That's incredible, because there's so many radius rods with ends they've got to put on that to locate that. It's going to be a tricky thing. Look, if you show, get Brendan to show the engine plate, they've got to square everything up to that, to where the engine mates to the motor plate on the car. Theoretically, everything's got to be neat and square to that. And they're running out of time. They're making a red-hot crack here, but I think time's against them. These radius rods, these drag links, you can see all this componentry here. They've got to square up, mount up, bolt up. I don't think they're going to do it in time, guys.
No, I don't think Jason doesn't look like he's in much of a hurry to do it, although as I say that,
yes, he is.
He's moving now. Down the back straight, white flag is being prepared in the WA Sprintcar Championship. 1 lap remaining now. Has Gessner got it? Either way, it's going to be an interstate champion for 2013. They exit 2 for the final time. Last chance stuff. The crowd is up in front of me. Turn 3, and Brooke Tundle, he returns to Australia and returns to victory lane. He wins the WA Sprintcar Championship by a car length at the finish.
And a man that joins, well, Gary Brazier, Kerry Madsen, but this man has already done it all. In Australian World Sprint Car Racing, he's back with the old band, the Cricket Motorsport team. Give it up, everyone, for BT, Brock Tatnall. I'm sure Shane's happy now. Here he comes up, gets the trophy from the Pull Shop Kalamunda girls, the champagne. Bit of fireworks, a bit of bling, just the way your old man would have liked it. And you put some fireworks on that racetrack. It was a heck of a race once we got up and going.
Very proud of this race team, and I got to take my hats off to Dylan and Finchy. They did an awesome job tonight.